What's up guys, welcome back for another YgoPro Duel video. Next match, Cross-Banlist Cup. First match as you see here in Group E. Like an archetype that has been like a staple in the Cross-Banlist Cup series, which is Infernities versus well, another archetype that's also quite staple in the Cross-Banlist Cup series, but again, both archetypes have like multiple ways of playing, as in for example, and I'm looking at plants, the plant archetype. One of the variants here throughout the history of this game is the Quickdraw Dandywarrior variant. Very strange name, but it's pretty straightforward with your Quickdraw Synchron, a double pot of Avarice as well, and you know, you're using Drill Warrior for example to recycle your Dandelion in your graveyard. A very nostalgic list, right? Very similar to Debris, Heim, or Heim, however you want to pronounce it, with those triple Debris Dragon in your main deck. Exceed Infernity's Sehabi's list from Worlds, only running double Avalval Chain at Worlds, right? But I mean, the most important things here for the Exceed variant are in the main deck, and I'm looking at triple Soul Charge. Disgusting in Infernities, right? So disgusting. So which deck has the advantage? As you know, like always, you can vote. In the top right corner of the video there is like an eye symbol, which you can, you know, two options, which deck will win the next matchup. So like always, feel free to leave your suggestion there. But from the previous video, we've got this. Over 900 votes, but yeah, this is pretty clear. Most people, like well, only 8% are thinking, or you know, preferring that Quickdraw Dandywarrior would win compared to Exceed Infernities. Over 90%, 91% of the votes. That's quite a lot. And well, if I'm honest, and comparing both decks, Quickdraw Dandy Plants, Dandywarrior is quite of a slow deck, and then I'm looking at Infernities. This is definitely one of those balanced Infernity lists, I guess, but balanced isn't really the correct word. With balanced, I mean, it seems like quite slow, but don't underestimate the power of multiple Avalval chains. And I'm looking at Master Key Beetle, for example, and you know, the ability to search out multiple, what is it called? The Infernity Break, like the Raigeki Break. So I'm going first, having the 6 cards, right? The decklist from 2010, late 2010 if I'm not mistaken. Light and Darkness Dragon was one of those power cards, but eventually got power creeped, right? Okay, Exceed Infernities, you know, it's just recycling, using your Infernity Archfiend multiple times. Also thanks to that, what is it called, the level 4, you know, in the banished pile, at least banish it from the graveyard. Street Patrol, that's the name I was looking for, and I don't think he's able to attack for game. Maybe I should have prisoned the Archfiend, you know, shutting down the Infernity barrier, I guess. Not really sure how many searches he was able to get here. I believe like 2 or 3. But yeah, depending on which extenders you have with Infernities, that seems to be like the maximum amount of searches. Well, 3, that is. I'm not really sure about this. I'm not an Infernity expert, but still, this is a losing battle, right? I mean, Debris Dragon only had 1 target here in this situation. You can't use another level 4 with Debris Dragon. Of going for the Synchro Summon would have been too good for that particular period of time. But yeah, rank 4 Exceed definitely would have been possible, but nope, that wasn't the time for that. He makes a couple, well, he makes a mistake here. Probably thought he would have gone for a game, would have got game, but 200 damage short, and you know, he probably should have used Avalval Chain eventually to stack the top card of his deck, but it's not going to matter, right? Barrier set, Infernity Break set as well. So game number 2. This opening is much better. Going for double Lone Fire, set up the graveyard for a possible pot of Avarice top deck, getting out the Quickdraw Synchron, and well, it's up to you, but I think I can go for it. Raikou isn't really that fantastic if I'm not setting it first turn it is, so going for Drill Warrior. And you know, Drill Warrior is that during your own main phase, I believe, definitely not during your opponent's turn if I'm not mistaken, it's once per turn. You can like discard a card, and then your Drill Warrior will banish itself, and then during your next turn, it will return, I think it was return or special summon, and then you can get back a monster from your graveyard. So you know how it goes, like recycle your Dandelion or a used up Lone Fire in your graveyard. for the time being. It was quite good actually. It's like a slow start deck, but it could quickly pump out the big monsters and floodgate your opponent with something like Titanial and, you know, Drill Warrior and Stardust protecting your setup. Going second this time, and that's just deadly against a deck like Infernity from 2014. The opponent doesn't need to fear hand traps, no Veiler, no Maxi, no Ash Blossom, and yeah, that's game over, right? I mean, Direwolf, it's a very strange move, but definitely a correct move for Infernities. Getting rid or making space here for your field. There is no links, of course, that would have been too good. But using the field spell basically gives you an extra level 4, you know, an extra Archfiend on your side of the field to get an extra surge, and I think this is just a maximum combo, right? Having Key Beetle protecting something, Dweller against your opponent's graveyard effects as in monster effects, and then I believe a barrier set and a triple Infernity break. I mean, what can I do? What can I do? Nothing, right? A good move here, setting the last card in his hand, so his Infernity Barrier is alive, and now he can just negate the Gorse. Gorse back then was such a powerful card. Back then limited for a good reason, because it was a game changer. If it was dropped at like, maybe not in this situation, but you know, if you're playing like 2010, 2011 format, dropping a Gorse, a well-timed Gorse, could turn the game upside down. But you know, we're speaking here in 2019 now, where Gorse I think is at 3, and it doesn't matter, you know, how times can change. The Bottomless Trap Wall definitely was needed. Stardust, I guess it's fine against Infernity Break, Mystical Space Typhoon from the opponent, but I mean, I think he had the option to go for Arknight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he definitely could have gone for Arknight to, you know, like attach the Stardust. I'm not really sure if it would have changed something. You know, he would have attacked over a token with the Arknight. I definitely would have dropped Light and Darkness Dragon. Well, yeah, Arknight with the built-in protection as well, so yeah, that might have been important, but still having that one, well, I just want to say that it's much easier to talk now if you're seeing the cards, right? But yeah, Light and Darkness Dragon, back then, like 2007-ish, end of 2007, 2008, Perfect Circle, you know, that deck Light and Darkness Dragon was a huge threat, a big boss monster, but I mean, you could like lure it out really well if you knew, at least if you knew how to play around it, like activate the first card and then chain the second card to destroy it. It was very easy to play around the card, but a lot of people didn't know that, and you could just capitalize on that, right? Well, yeah, game number 5, if I'm not mistaken, but the opponent again has the advantage. Definitely a solid start, I guess. I think getting 3 or 4 searches, not really sure. There is the Harris indeed, and Street Patrol, yeah, I think that's like the 3rd search. I believe the Barrier and Double Break. So Cold Wave is going to force out the Infernity Barrier, and I still have a couple of plays here. If it wasn't for Cold Wave, at least if it wasn't for Barrier, I would have been able to, you know, Chunk Destroyer, get like a Destruction, and depending on how I played this out, I'm not really sure if I could have gotten more Destruction options with a Chunk Destroyer. But yeah, indeed, I wasn't able to, at least if Cold Wave went through, I would not have been able to use Monster Reborn. So going for Nitro Warrior, a good old school card. It's basically just an extra attacker if you're able to put an attack, at least a defense position monster into attack position. So basically an extra beat stick here. I'm keeping the Mirror Force just in case. Top decking a Debris Dragon would be good. Pot of Avarice I think is not live, but yeah, the warning here is that since the Arknight has that built-in, Zenmei is affected by, you know, detaching, and it will survive, and warning would have been GG. Doesn't really matter using warning or not. There is a break which we knew he had, right? I think he searched it out earlier during his turn, so now he's able to attack for a game. Yeah, well, what can I do, right? I think we have a well-deserved winner here with Exceed Infernities. It was definitely going well back and forth, but again, if we can compare both decks and the power plays and the ceiling of both decks, well-deserved winner here with Exceed Infernities from 2014 over Quickdraw Dandywarrior. So next matchup we have GlitchxCity's Hand Loop, the Hieratic Hand Loop, which was relevant or playable in the TCG for like, I think 1 weekend or 2 weekends, not a lot, a very much hyped up deck back then, if I if I remember correctly, from 2012, will take on good old Destiny hero Beatdown, aka Reasoning Deck Monster Deck Blood Tea, you know, that delicious saggy deck. Anxiously awaiting this particular matchup. It should be uploaded like next week after YCS Düsseldorf. Okay, again, like always, guys, feel free to leave your predictions, upper right corner votes, and or a comment which deck will win the next matchup. Okay, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.